absent. So you pardon us for that. I want to talk about the performance of Lagos Industrial Command 2023, October to April 2024. Good morning to everybody, stakeholders, excise traders, the bank representatives, and our beloved partner in this job, which is our media, for responding swiftly to this invitation. I was also taken unawares. My name, as has been rightly said, is Nsikan Patrick Umor, now an Assistant Controller of Customs, Nigeria Customs Service. As you are all aware, this designation has taken me away from Lagos Industrial to Abuja, and so I deem it fit and very necessary to assess my performance before my team for the past 7 months in this administration. And I also want to register my heartfelt gratitude to all categories of stakeholders in the team that made it possible for the administration to be run smoothly and fruitful. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I want to also speak to the trend of revenue performance between October to April 2024. I took over a revenue of at 1.6 billion in the month of September, and from October we have been increasingly collecting excise duties that is worthy of recommendation or commendation. In October, we made it up to 1.923. November, we rose to about 2.5 and above. December, 2.3. So we've been averagely on 2.5, 2.4 since I took over. In fact, the monthly revenue has been increasing progressively. In the months of February to March, we had issues with the bank for non-remittances of duty on time as it went due. And I think that also advanced the revenue that we have made in the month of April, standing at almost 4.3, which is the highest so far in the Lagos Industrial for more than 2 decades. So I think at this point, I want to say thank you for your overwhelming support, and also would proudly say that we need to give ourselves a resounding applaud for this. We have also made achievements in other aspects of it. I am in control, or I controlled about 32 active excise factories, of which 26 are producing alcoholic beverages. 6 of them produce carbonated sweetened drinks. So currently, 22 out of the 34 have applied for their UCA and have also renewed their licenses. I have an outstanding of about 12 who are yet to do so. So I want to persuade, because you may face sanctions if you don't take care of it. The way we have always been to apply for the 12 factories, which I refuse to put their names here, just to give them a little respect, I now persuade that you do your application for UCA, because you know the consequences. You'll be stopped from producing for UCA on or before the 31st of this month, or you'll be sanctioned. So I also ask those who have not yet applied for licenses to do so before the 31st of May. In addition to this, we found out about 5 new factories, which about 3 of them are now under control, and 2 outstanding, still processing their documents to be under excise control. However, my normal pledge or advocacy is to emphasize on production for export, knowing the situation in the country, on the commercial policies that affects the manufacturing sector. I said earlier, I do encourage them. There's nothing I can do when it comes to fiscal policy. I can only try to encourage by way of consolation. But the only thing they can do for themselves is to try and find the opportunities that are available to key in to sustain them, which the latest one, apart from the ECOWAS trade scheme, is the African Continental Free Trade Area that is coming up, which Nigeria was expected to have started by January this year. So what I go about telling them when I went for my tour visit, January, February, I kept on telling everyone that was complaining, I do not have raw materials, cannot source forex. Then the forex was going to about 2,000 naira for $1. So I kept on telling them, but you could do better by not just waiting to get the profits from the Nigerian market. Because if you do produce for export, we don't collect, but we account for it. We follow you up and make sure that you export it. So when you produce, it is duty-free, and then we only account for it and make sure it is out. There, if you have, because preferential trade is African Continental Free Trade Agreement, when you meet up with all the requirements of the trade agreement, you are expected to have reduction of taxes or duties or even exemption depending on the trade agreement, what the trade agreement said. So if they go and take their products to the other side of the market, which is the other African countries, they can compete with them and then make the dollars and come back to buy their raw materials. But I think you would love to know that in earnest, most of our manufacturers do not have, do not start from the primary raw materials in Nigeria. Almost 95% of their raw materials are coming from abroad, they're imported. So the forex exchange and difficult fiscal policy terrain is biting hard on them, apart from the other Nigerian issues of lack of energy and so many other services and multiple taxations. So it becomes very difficult. From my records, I will have up to 40-something factories with me that I have identified, but I'm only getting revenue for about 22. The others are either they cannot meet up with getting the raw materials, or they're too weak to even contribute anything. If they contribute this month, in the next 2 months they won't contribute anything, and it's very marginal, too insignificant for the billions or the targets that we are expected to make as a command. So that's the issue. The economic situation is very biting on every